right, next we have Don Lambert, our Director of Emerging Technologies from ITS. He's going to share this year's, right? Straight in, or do you want the USBs?
No.
Welcome, Don. Thank you.
So good morning. I'm Don Lambert. I'm the Director for Emerging Technologies with ITS. It's my team that's providing AI services to campus. And Jeremy asked me if I'd give you guys a one-year overview of where we've been over the last year. So our work began by a request from the provost to a Generative AI committee last spring. And that they wanted to position the university to be leaders in AI. They knew that this was going to be a very disruptive technology, that things were going to change not only in education, but within research, within the university business, and basically every industry out there was going to have some form of AI in the next several years. And we could have two approaches. We could wait and see, or we could lead. And we got the executive direction to lead. So this report came out in June, July of 2023. We had some inside information that we knew that there was going to be a request to have AI services on campus. So we got to work in June making AI available for campus. We did that work. So why do we do it? Again, to position the university to be leaders in AI. The work we started with, we were like, okay, what are we going to do? We had no direction. There was nobody else to follow, so we had to make some decisions really easily for ourselves. And so what we did was we brought in a very diverse team. So I came from the College of Engineering. I had shown some interest in this space. I was known for some other projects I'd led on campus previously, and I was asked to run this project. I had the opportunity to go out and basically pick an all-star team. I got to pick some of the best IT people from across campus, and we worked for the next 8 weeks to make services available for campus. But this was a team that we knew we were going to learn, we were going to move fast, we were going to not be burdened by, anything. We were going to learn, fail, move forward. And honestly, to make that work, and we had strong leadership. So our sponsors being the CIO, the president, and the provost. So what we did in about 8 weeks, we provided services here for campus. We basically released 3 services. I'll go into those in a little bit of detail, but we wanted to make sure that we had things that were available for everybody. So we did the work to contract. We contracted with Microsoft. That selection was based on who was actually ready at the time to move forward with us. Now remember, ChatGPT hit the scene in November of 22. We're working in June of 23, 6-7 months later, and everybody in the world is trying to catch up. So we talked with Microsoft, we talked with OpenAI, we talked with Google, Amazon, all the big players. Microsoft was the only group that was willing to commit to us that they could move forward at the speed we wanted to move forward. Many people ask me if we'd make the same decision again. The landscape's changed. I can't commit to if that would be it, but I will tell you that Microsoft has been a great partner. We had a lot of great time with them doing whiteboard work, doing planning. Everything that we developed was developed here in-house. It is our own IP, but they were a great partner in this problem. Again, so we released things like made ChatGPT available. We made DALL-E for images available. We've also done some things with some large open source models as well. We released Maisie. And our foundation was really around making sure that this was private, secure, accessible, and equitable. So it's available for everybody at all 4 campuses. It meets ADA compliance. Anything that you put into it is private. So if you're doing certain types of research, you want to make sure nobody gets to see it. The conversations are between you and the AI. Nobody else is actually looking at your logs, your data, your questions, your answers. And it's secure. We made sure that there was secure from outside hacking as well. do want to make a couple comments about our commitment to privacy, because this is where I get the most questions. None of your information is ever used to train a large language model. So there's nothing that's going to leak out that way. We're not reviewing your prompts. Again, your conversations with the AI are your conversations. You know, the AI doesn't have any long-term knowledge at this point. So if you tell it something, you make corrections to it, you give it information. It's not encoding that anywhere. It's not embedding that anywhere. You know, that only exists during that conversation. We've had many researchers go, it would be great if I could do some research on what the university students are using this for. And again, because of our privacy policies, we don't allow this. Again, faculty members don't get to see with the student questions. Again, we have a very, very strong policy on privacy. Now, students do have the option to opt in. If they want to share their conversations with the AI, with the faculty member, maybe they're concerned that the AI gave them a wrong answer. Maybe they're not sure, you know, what's going on, you know, with the answer it's getting. They have the option to opt in. But you always control your data, your conversations. So share them if you choose to. You don't have to. So we offer 3 basic services. We offered these till last year. What we call U-M GPT. This is just our alternative to ChatGPT. You can go ask questions today. It's free, available for everybody on all 4 campuses. Maisie, as we mentioned earlier, Maisie is a contextually aware tool. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But you can connect, again, as we mentioned in the last presentation, to your Canvas course. You can connect it to other types of data on campus as well, and now start making queries against your data. And then Toolkit. Toolkit's for the people that actually want to go out and build their own thing. You know, I just need access. I want to use the university's secure platform, and I want to build my own thing. And that's what Toolkit's for. So, you know, quick overview again. We're providing U-M GPT at no cost. All of your data remains here in the institution and is not going out anywhere else. To give you kind of ideas, some recent updates we've made. So we've gone to the latest model. We're at the GPT 4.0 model today. We have the new O1 model in preview. We don't have enough capacity to make it a campus service today, but we will soon. Continue to use DALL-E 3 and the Llama 3.1 open source models. So again, why do we have multiple models? Well, in some texts, they do different things. You know, 4.0 is a great general purpose model. Llama is an open source model. You can actually ask the same questions to different models and get different responses. Why? Because they were built differently. They were built with different weights and measures on what was important to them. And this gives you, you know, the opportunity to compare and contrast. Today we don't have an upload file option at the moment or photos. We expect those to be coming sometime by spring. But we have actually done a great job to improve our LaTeX formatting. So if you're actually doing mathematics and need mathematical symbols, we've actually recently improved all of that. Maisie, is our no-code environment. You can bring your data and you can start interacting with your data in less than 10 minutes. And your data can come from anywhere you'd like today. It can come from Google Drives, it can come from public websites, it can come from lecture captures. Again, this is the university lecture capture provided by Kane. Canvas courses or Dropbox. So you don't have to move your data around. You use it in Maisie. You can leave it where it's at. You tell Maisie where it's at, allow it to read that information and use it. This has been a monthly build system. It was designed to be a monthly build. We've had a rate holiday since day 1. We have not billed anybody in 15 months. I will tell you that we probably won't bill anybody before the end of the year. And if we start to bill people, I think we probably have to make an announcement before we do it. We made it free for so long that, you know, I'm not going to just turn it on and surprise anybody with a bill one day. Again, this is all point and click. There's no code to it. You can go ahead and use it for yourselves at any time. One thing I do want to mention that it does require a short code if you're, probably about the next slide. So let's go, let me talk about this kind of in order. So we do have a Canvas LTI. If you're using your courses in Canvas and it's an official course, we'll go ahead and provide you a $1,000 allocation to use the services. The other nice thing that we've added to this is we'll have YouTube as another data source for this very soon. A new update, we also realized that not every course has all of their data in their Canvas course. So you can connect to a Canvas course, a Dropbox. You can connect to any combination of the data sources I mentioned earlier. We've also changed the idea of how you can re-index things. We understand that people, course material in particular is updated regularly. So we've set it so you can actually re-index regularly and update the content and the knowledge of the AI on a regular basis. If you're not in a course, as I was trying to mention earlier, you will need a shortcode for this. Again, we're not billing anybody. The shortcode is a gatekeeper for us. This is what prevents students from just coming in and using it. We do want to make this available to faculty and staff at this point and not. And this is to build Maisie. Students can consume any Maisie project you have because the consumption is billed back to the project owner. Quickly, if you wanted to enable Maisie today in Canvas, it is available for anybody who wants to use it. You go into your settings, you find the UM GPT Maisie option, you enable it, and from there, it actually takes you through the Maisie creation process. And when it's available and on your site, it just shows up in the regular navigation. Quick view, as I mentioned, you can have multiple data sources. This is kind of what that looks like. Every data source can have its own list of information, can have its own indexing schedule. And again, to add additional resources, we just add additional resource. We've tested up to 50 unique resources at a time. We don't believe that's an upper limit. It's just as far as we tested. Again, as I mentioned, we can go ahead and on each of those data sources, you can adjust the indexing periods as well. So you can index once a week, once a month, or you can index once and never re-index. So if you have a book, the book doesn't change. There's no reason to re-index that multiple times. As I mentioned earlier, Toolkit is our API access. You want to go ahead and take advantage of centralized billing, centralized security. You just want to go ahead and start developing. You can go ahead and do that with Toolkit today. Toolkit, again, has recently picked up some new additions. So GPT 4.0, GPT 4.0 Mini actually went live last week. The 01 preview, again, we're still working with that limited capacity. We can support some users of this. I don't have enough for all of campus. And the GPT 3.5 models will be retired soon because of their age. We thought the last date was going to be in January. Microsoft just extended that for us. So we'll make a retirement announcements about 60 days before it's retired. But again, the final date is dependent on Microsoft. Outcomes. What have we seen so far, and what have we heard back? We've heard from several faculty members that they've been using the Maisie tool. They've been happy to have AI services on campus. Again, I included a couple quotes here for that. But I'd much rather give you, the 2 minutes to listen to Stephen Clark. Okay.
It strongly focuses on what you have in your class, your lecture outlines, your lecture recordings, your discussion material, anything you put online on Canvas. The chatbot reads that and uses that as the primary basis for its information. And I didn't run into any instances where the chatbot was telling them something that's different than what I was telling the students in the lab. The other very nice feature of Maisie is that when a student asks a question, tell me about whatever, telomeres. It gives an explanation, but then it also provides links to the lecture outlines and the lecture recordings with timestamps. For what I want out of it, which is a sort of 24/7 resource for students to ask questions about course material and get a straightforward answer that is focused on the material that I'm trying to relay to the students, that does what I want it to do. Some people fear that chatbots are going to replace instructors, and I definitely don't think that's the case. It's just another resource that we can provide the students where they can learn course material. And the more opportunities students have, I mean, we know from a lot of studies that the more resources students access in an introductory class, introductory science class especially, the better they do in the class. The more they come to lecture, the more they come to office hours, the more they go to review sessions, study groups, the better they do. And I just think that this is another resource for students to access.
Here's an idea of how many people, how much data we're processing here. So in our first semester, we had over 20,000 unique individuals attempt to use our tools. Since then, we've had about 56,000 individuals use our tools. To give you some idea of how much data we're processing per month, last month we processed 777,000 requests. What's a request? You ask a question, you hit return, that's a request. What does that look like as far as words and data? So it's 6.16 billion words. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I think thinking about it as pages. But pages of data, that was 9.5 million pages of data that went in and out of the system. If you try to break that down into books or to novels, that's about 14,000 novels worth of data that's coming out of the system. So when people ask me, are our students using it, are our faculty and staff using it, I would say yes, they are. That's a pretty common question we also get from other higher eds that are asking about, hey, how if we provide these types of services, are they going to be used? Yes, I believe they're going to be used. So I'm going to take a minute and tell you a little bit about where we're going. Our next big tool, and we've released it as a beta tool right now, is a product we're calling MyMazy. So today what happens is there are many mazes out there. Some of them are coursework that I've mentioned. Other people are using for research. Other people are using for student advising. There's a mazy for the SPG. There's lots of mazes out there. The challenge right now is that, one, you have to know those mazes exist, and you interact with them one-on-one. So if I'm talking to my mazy for my English 125 class, that conversation is between these two items. If I'm talking to the mazy for my engineering, 280 class, I'm talking with just that mazy. What MyMazy allows you to do is not have to know which mazy is best suited to answer your question. You just ask your question. We're letting the AI work as a router for you to decide which of the mazes can best answer this question for you. So I'm going to, can't really see it very well here, but the other thing that I think is really powerful about this is it can also now access and give you combined answers. So sometimes the best answers aren't going to be in a single source, they're in multiple sources. So what happens with MyMazy, it goes out and it talks to the various sources you have access to, brings back that data and gives you a compiled answer. So my question here is, I'm heading to the DC, where can I park and get something to eat? So this is actually going to talk to a buildings mazy to understand what the DC is. But it understands this is not Washington, D.C. It's going to understand that this is the context of the university. Where can I park? It's going to go out and talk to parking and transportation. And where can I eat? It's going to go talk to dining. And it's going to go ahead and give me a combined answer. It would look something like this, where it tells me that I can go ahead and I can park in the NC 43 or NC 27 campus, so both North Campus locations. Or do you want a map? Or do you want bus routes? Because it doesn't necessarily know which I might want. And then it also has listed the various markets that are open for me on North Campus and what their hours are, so I can go grab that something to eat that I mentioned. So again, it understood that DC was Duderstadt Center. It understood about parking and parking information. It also understood about dining information. So it gave me a combined answer that it got from multiple sources. Again, as I mentioned, Mazy is doing this work. It is MyMazy AI router is looking at your questions, evaluating your questions, and deciding what the best source of information is to answer these questions. The other thing I wanted to mention really quickly is early on I said that privacy was really important to us. This includes the options for us to do debugging. Like, we don't look at your information without permission. So we've actually enabled this year an option for people to say, yes, I do want to see questions. I do want to share some information with you. And when that actually happens, we'll see this new red bar that basically says debugging log access is enabled. And you can follow and get more information about that. But you, again, as the end user, control what we can see. So you get, I want to go ahead and enable debugging. It tells you what we might do with your data, how we're going to use your data. And you go ahead and you grant us an access window. So 4 hours, 8 hours, whatever, or a day. And you can continue to renew this access if that's what's important. We're still debugging something with you. Or if we've solved your problem and you say, yep, that's great. I don't need debugging anymore. You can also come in and remove this grant for us. So again, it's always been important for us and for privacy that you own your data. We only look at the debugging information when you invite us in to look at it. So that's the overview. That's kind of where we're at today. I'd be happy to take any questions about the services we're offering.
I have a quick question. So the MyMazy, if I've created a bunch of Mazys for CAI, and I go to MyMazy, will it access those plus all the other university ones I have access to?
That's a great question. So So today we're working through a vetting process for that, and so we were looking to partner with more organizations to say, do you have Mazys? Are they ready? Are you ready to have them available for campus, or to what audience should they be available? So today, no, it's courses. It's individualized. So the 5 courses I'm in, I get access to, plus the general data that we're making available about the university.
Bus routes, the dining.
Would be totally different. And I won't see your courses, you won't see my courses. It's individualized in that way, but we also share the same core university data.
Okay. Well, mine might even be courses. They might be, we've created a policy for CAI, Mazy. Yeah, okay. Yep.
Where are we today? It's most of the courses. We haven't worked on these partnerships quite yet.
We'll want to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Other questions, folks in the audience? Yes, over here.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. So I want to ask a question from a UMGPT user perspective. I don't know if there's any plan to kind of build an app for the UMGPT and also allow it to take audio as input, because usually I like to, talk with the AI on the go and get my work done like while I'm taking a bus or something. So I'm just curious if there's consideration for such development.
We don't work together, right?
You don't know him?
We don't work together.
You don't know him? You haven't worked? Okay.
So the answer is yes. We're actually actively working on an app right now. Some of the things that app will allow you to do is, use the microphone and the speaker on that device, so you can actually hear, something, read back to you. You can talk to it. We also look to leverage the camera, so you can take a picture or use those types of things. Also do file uploads from it, and there will also be an option for you to opt into sharing GPS data with us. So when you ask for something like, where's the nearest bus stop? We know where you are because you're sharing that data with us, and we'll find that location. Or where's the nearest dining hall? Or, how do I get to the league from where I'm at? So as you share that information, we'll use that information. But again, we plan to have this be based on your privacy. You have to decide which of these things you want to opt into.
Other questions? We could probably take a couple more. Can't let you go before 12:30 because the food won't be ready.
Thanks, Don. Could you speak to the O1 limited capacity that you described?
Yeah, so generally speaking, our partner is Microsoft. Microsoft is in a relationship with OpenAI. So when OpenAI makes their products available, Microsoft makes them available to us. When things still have that preview moniker on them, we don't get I have enough capacity for dozens of users, not tens of thousands of users. So in the right place, if we were doing some research or working with somebody, we can make that available. But I just don't have it to scale at this point. So generally speaking, when OpenAI drops that preview tag, about 2 weeks later, Microsoft has capacity for us. So, if I was going to take a guess, I would expect in the November, December time for the preview will go away. Shortly after that, we'll come to us.
Yeah, question? Colleen? Thanks for meeting me halfway.
Hi, is there like a U of M Maisie for your U of M Maisie? Because I tried to use it, and then the first thing I put in is when is the exam, and it had it off, right? Because I had put the default date was 11:59 p.m., but according to Maisie, that was the next day because of time zones. Like, I didn't know if there's a spot for people like me who make the same mistake over and over again to get feedback before we release it.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So my team does consulting for that type of thing all the time. The ITS AI page, there's a forum you can go ahead and contact us with. We'd love to consult on those types of issues. We've recently done some work to try to improve time. One of the things, and this is an improvement we still need to make, is when you ask a question in your course about what assignments are due week 5. Today, the problem is that AI doesn't understand the academic calendar. So we're actually working with that as well. So when I say, week 1, week 5, week 15, it actually understand which calendar week you're talking about. So we've absolutely been working on date and time issues like you're talking about. I'm not sure that particular one. I've not looked at that, but absolutely. We love working on challenging problems. So.
Other questions? Other feedback that people have used it in their classes? As a student or a faculty? I'm starving. I'm hungry. Okay, well, thank you, Don. Appreciate it. Thanks for all the work you all have done to make our data safe and lead the way.